GHS cheer and rave as the excitement builds for the game. Within the Youth Volleyball League, one of the best in the business, young girls play volleyball amongst themselves and others. EJHS Japan Club gets together and talks about all things Japan. All this and more on today's show. Welcome back, Colts. This is Hannah Clark
and Lily Holloway.
We are here with Colts Connection, bringing yet another Colts-tastic news show. Let's begin with the youth volleyball team, a team of talented young players who are interested in volleyball.
When you were younger, did you ever try a sport but never had the experience? This is exactly what Edgewood's new youth volleyball league is trying to prevent.
I like this volleyball program because it teaches you how to hit, serve, and all the things.
7th and 8th grade volleyball players helped coach this youth league. The cost was $50 and included a t-shirt and 5 weeks of game-like experience. Program funds went directly into volleyball purchases for the team.
I wanted to start this program because we've had a lot of players that are interested, but then they come and they've never played before. So this gives them a chance to actually get some practice in and play before they actually are on the team.
The first year was a big success. Edgemond had a bigger turnout than expected. COVID caused some challenges, but she made it all work out. Next year, she's hoping for even more players.
The biggest thing I think I learned was probably like not how to do the stuff, but like how it's played.
Of my players, I love everybody. It was so fun.
This is Lydia Underwood signing off for Colts Connections.
Next, we move to Japan Club, a club ran by Miss Epperson. Students in this club learn about Japanese language, culture, and watch movies. Now let's take a look into the wondrous club.
Students at Edgewood Junior High have been encouraged to join Japan Club, hosted by 7th grade social studies teacher Miss Epperson.
I started Japan Club mainly because I had a lot of kids who were interested in learning more about Japan, especially when they learned that I was half Japanese American.
In Japan Club, members get to learn about Japanese culture, its arts, the history of Japan, the Japanese language, and a lot more.
I joined Japan Club because I want to live in Tokyo and I want to be in Tokyo, even though that's like the main place where people want to go.
Japan Club because I generally like joining clubs and making new friends, and I also really like learning about Japan, and so I would like to meet other people who like to join.
My favorite thing to teach in Japan Club is that I really like teaching the Japanese language. I really enjoy getting to teach them how to say the different letters and the different sounds, and starting to see kids being able to speak a few words in Japanese is really cool.
In Japan Club, an average of 15 to 18 students come to a meeting every Wednesday. You can join Japan Club by going to Miss Epperson's room 121, after schools on Wednesday from 2:30 to 3:30. But make sure you email Miss Epperson beforehand if you're joining mid-year.
That's all for Japan Club. I'm James Bogle, and this was Colts Connections.
Coming up, we will take a look at EJHS students taking high school classes and what the teachers think about these type of courses being offered in middle school.
Many students at EJHS take high school classes, and talking with them, most of them enjoy taking them.
I mean, it feels good to be able to be in those classes and, have something to work for, but definitely a little more challenging.
Junior high students can currently take Algebra 1 in 7th grade. In 8th grade, students can take Algebra 1, Honors Geometry, and Honors Biology 1. Some students might ask why only these classes are offered. The reason for this is the readiness of students, staff availability, and meeting a particular need for high school curriculum. Our very own junior high counselors and admin decide who takes these classes through standardized tests, classroom work, and teacher recommendation. Another common question is, why isn't a different math class available? The reason for this is that EHS math sequences Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, so the first two are offered at EJHS. How much harder is it to teach in high school classes than junior high classes?
Not so much. I taught 2 years at the high school level when I taught in Florida. I taught AP Human Geography and AP World History and U.S. History at the high school level. So for this class, it's not nearly as difficult as some of the high school classes I've taught in the past.
A recent interview with Mr. Gallagher about why students should or shouldn't take Algebra 1 in 8th grade.
Students in algebra sometimes aren't quite ready to make that leap. A lot of times kids are skipping like 7th or 8th grade math to get there. And so I think sometimes they could benefit a little bit more from having an extra year to prep and really develop their skills.
Discussing the topic with Reese Roberts about advantages of taking high school classes in junior high.
I will be able to take more college credited classes when I get older in high school.
Finally, some thoughts from Ms. Hillenberg.
I think it's a really good idea for 8th graders to start to get their study habits and get into the rhythm of getting their homework done on time and making sure that you start those habits that are going to help you in high school as an 8th grader.
This is Gunnar Perry, Colts Connections.
Now we'll hear a story about one of EJHS's most beloved teachers, Mr. Doatz, and how he came to EJHS.
We all know Mr. Doatz, the choir director at EJHS. For many years, he has taught music classes for all grades. But how much do we really know about Mr. Doatz's career?
I've heard that he's acted in some plays. I've heard he's been in a few movies.
We know Mr. Doatz has been involved with music for most of his life, but little did we know that he's done more than just music in his career. Let's take a closer look at what he really does in his day-to-day life.
I have been involved with music in some way, shape, or form since I was in high school. I have been a teacher for about 15 years, and off and on in the middle of all that, I have been a professional actor for about 10.
We know that Mr. Doatz is a little daughter that takes up most of his after-school time, but he also has time to do a little extra work on the side. When we heard from the students what they thought he did after school, it was a wonder that he could fit any time in for acting at all.
When I have a little extra time, I do side work as a voice actor and a sound designer.
Now, we've all heard about how he acts on the side, but the real question that we have been asking is why it is just on the side. And we asked him, and we got our answer.
Well, I still continue my acting career. I still do voice work. I still do sound design projects. But the world of acting, unless you're very lucky, is not one that you're going to be able to sustain yourself long term. And the life of an actor having to be in a different town sometimes every week wasn't real conducive to that, so we decided to come back into the classroom and have something a little bit more stable.
It's funny what you hear when you ask people for details about your choir director being an actor. You hear stories of him traveling to the First Sonic to get a Diet Coke for Kristen Chenoweth, while he worked for an educational programming for a year in South Korea. Not to mention that he's been in projects like the Ernie Pyle Experiment, The Very Ugly Duckling, and more.
I've done touring theater, I've done touring children's theater, I have been in full-length musicals, I've done television, I have done what's called background work or extra work in television and movies and film. I have done voice acting.
He said one time that he waited for 14 hours to get ready for an acting show, and he got replaced at the last minute.
He's told us about a play where they had brought a camel onto the stage, and I guess somebody spooked the camel or something, and then it like fell into a pit.
Who knew our beloved choir director had so much going on in his life? For Colts Connection, this is Sydney Adams, disconnecting.
Our last story of the day is brought to us from our school fans, some parents of EJHS students and kids that love to show school spirit and pride.
Everyone loves to be cheered on while playing sports. As we're getting back to a somewhat normal lifestyle, EJHS fans are key to a winning season.
I think it's pretty hype. I always like to be there because it's so much fun.
Here recently, the EJHS 8th grade boys basketball teams had a bunch of students come out and support them by sitting in the student section and cheering them on.
Because it definitely makes me play better, especially when we're losing. I know that there's people that want me to win and that cheer me on when we're losing.
Check the online morning announcements for tickets and more information about the games. This year, the student section has been the best it has ever been. The students are creative and have fun while cheering the team on.
I like cheering, and when they're shooting three throws, you get to do this thing, and I like just the energy that we bring out.
There are different themes for the student section each home game, and every time the students never fail to meet the theme. During the game, the environment is different for everyone.
It can get tense at times. Well, depending on the score, it can get pretty tense.
It is very fun and exciting.
Everyone needs to keep coming out and supporting the teams that are playing.
I want to say thank you, and I hope you guys keep coming out. I know we haven't had like the best games yet or scores or anything, but if you guys just keep coming out, we'll keep having a fun atmosphere to play in.
Again, make sure you check the online morning announcements for information about future sporting events taking place. This is Gabby Day from Colts Connection signing off.
Thanks for tuning in to Colts Connection. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope to see you next week. I'm Hannah Clark.
And I'm Lily Holloway.
With Colts Connection signing off.